To head to the EOS Meetup in Santa Monica for dAPP developers.
An accident was reported on I-405.
That's not good, because it's already going to take about an hour or so to get there. Right outside Warner Brothers Studios, driving around Hollywood. I'll tell you one thing, it's about to be Hollywood in the blockchain community, because the bull run is coming. But EOS to me is the most exciting project going on right now. I had my phases the past several months of different cryptos I was into. First was obviously Bitcoin, that started to blow up. Then Ripple, started getting to Ripple right during that big phase last year. And Tron, I've had my rounds of favorite cryptos: Dash, Stellar Lumens. This is one thing I can't get used to either. The red lights of the highways, much different than the East Coast, but there's a lot more traffic out here. Sauce it up. This is the last one. Sauce it up. So I finally found parking. Took a good while. See the Phantom 4 up here. Oh, watch out, Seagull.
Turn left toward First Court.
Yeah, come back and do that.
Let's go, member. Do you know how to find 1541?
Turn right onto First Court.
1541?
Yeah. Just found out that their address was changed. Turns out that I parked a lot closer to the event than I thought. So I'm backtracking toward my car to find the event.
Yeah, sing songs of the old that I almost remember the words to. I have memory problems, so the doctor had to, do something to, Anyway, I'm getting there, Anyway, help support my show here. I could use some lunch money. Anybody with an extra 20?
I'm for the. Okay. Got it. Finally made it. I'm gonna let this in here. Guess they planned on it. Well, the event's almost over, but I wanted to at least check it out, say hi, show face. Thank you everyone for coming out, and we'll see you in the next one.
I've traveled each and every highway, but much I am
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I'm Jason. I was
Oh,
emailing
Jason,
you.
how's it going,
Yeah,
man?
good, man. I just got here like at the end.
Oh, did
I
you?
came from work
Oh,
and then
okay.
I parked and I went the wrong way.
Oh.
So, what do you think like the long run's gonna look like between like EOS and Ethereum? Like, do you think they're both gonna coexist together somehow?
I have some concerns about Ethereum, and the reason is, where are you anyway?
I'm down here.
Okay.
If you're down here, I'll just walk because I think my car's over there
Yeah,
anyways.
sure.
But
So my concerns with Ethereum are that they're trying to change the engine in a moving car. So Vitalik is one of the, he's a genius. So from my perspective, the problem is that he started in one direction because he's the reason that this whole programmable blockchain exists.
so wow, a 21-year-old kid.
Right?
I think
Yeah,
it's
and
insane.
he's the reason why, really why I'm in the game. Ethereum is what attracted me after Bitcoin. It's like, cool, you can send money, but Ethereum, you can develop apps. Man, I'm in. But the problem is, I think Vitalik, if he were to start from scratch and rebuild, then he would be, able to move so quick. But the problem is, he's already up and running. So now picture a car on the freeway and you got to change the engine.
You got to make the adjustments midway through.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not that Vitalik doesn't have the talent or ability. It's just what he's working with is restraining. So so I think because of that reason, Ethereum eventually has to be either abandoned or it's going to fall behind, because say EOS or other projects that are starting from scratch, they're clean slate. They're building from the ground up. So eventually he's going to have to, from my perspective, is either abandon ship and start fresh, or he's going to sit there and say, okay, well, what all the challenges they're trying to solve are already going to be solved through other projects, including EOS. There's so many of them. Is you get an app that is starting to gain momentum and it hits a wall.
Yeah.
So you can't scale Ethereum. So say for example you wanted to build an email application on Ethereum, you can't. If you want to build an exchange on Ethereum, you can't. And the reason is because of the transactions per second are, it's still using the proof of work algorithm. So right now, the proof of work algorithm is quite slow. I mean, it has something like 20-second blocks. In order to have scalability, you can't use the proof of work algorithm because the whole model requires too much work before a block is produced. So when you have that much work in order to produce a block and move on to the next one, it's just like you're dragging along challenges to produce every block. So what he's trying to do is move to the proof of stake algorithm, which doesn't require that whole puzzle solving algorithm. What it does is it's kind of similar. Well, it's called proof of stake, what he's trying to move to. But by the time he moves there, I think he's just, every other project's going to pass him by. I don't know how familiar you are with it.
So this is like historical right now. Most people don't realize it.
And you're part of it.
That's what I'm trying to be. Why not? It's just exciting. That's why.
So on a nutshell, proof of work says if you want to contribute a block to the blockchain, you have to find the number that fits into this keyhole, call it. Okay. So that's what all these machines are doing. They're trying to find the number that starts with a number with call it 6 zeros, and whoever finds it first gets to propose a block. But it's so difficult to find that unless you team up with other people in the form of a pool, it'll take you probably a year with one machine to get a reward. Probably more. I would say, call it 5 years or whatever. But so the proof. So you got delegated proof of stake, which is what EOS uses. And what that is instead of having to solve puzzles, what I'm going to do is I'm going to elect a limited number of block producers that don't have to solve any puzzles. So instead of using all that energy to find the puzzle, use that energy to process apps and actually do useful, apply your resources to something useful. Proof of work, all it does is you use all this energy to find the number, to propose a block. Once you find that, all that energy uses out the window. So it's, that's why you hear a lot of people complain.
Ethereum on steroids. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
one
cool,
way.
man.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
so I think EOS just by far has solved so many things that people haven't even started thinking about. Dan Larimer with his previous projects, he's already solved the scalability thing. Mm-hmm. He's already solving
the speed thing.
Yeah, how fast the blocks are produced. He's already starting this. Most projects, when you hear ICO about this and that, what they're doing is proposing usually how to solve the consensus algorithm, basically meaning who gets to propose a block next to keep building. But while all these coins are sitting there saying, let's solve that, Dan Larimer's already thinking of crap that these guys will eventually have to think of, and that includes, you know, how do you make it user friendly? Where how's an app going to go big if you have to sit there and manage keys and accidentally lose them and send them to the wrong place, and the learning curve of the blockchain, you know, it's pretty steep. I mean, you got your hands dirty with it, and you realize there's still so much to learn. So how could you make an app go big if that's the obstacle someone has to jump to adopt it? So Dan Larimer is solving a lot of these things, where he's saying the blockchain doesn't have to be technical. It should act just like a centralized server. So you shouldn't even know that you're on a blockchain. You should use an app, and somebody's like, oh, guess what? You were just on the blockchain. Oh, sweet.
Gotcha.
So that's what Dan Larimer's trying to do, which is why we're fans.
Yeah, and plus he has a decent track record.
Oh yeah. He's got the two most used blockchains out of every single one that exists right now.
Which are what?
BitShares and Steemit.
BitShares.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steemit. Do you have a Steemit?
I do.
Can I add you? Because I just got
Absolutely,
approved
yeah. Awesome,
like this
man.
past week.
Did you? Sweet.
And you have a price prediction for when the
That's
EOS
the
tokens actually turn into real EOS tokens June 1st?
So here's, the problem is, as a block producer, we're supposed to stay away from speculation and talk of it. However, what I can tell you is that, we hit a peak of about $20. So by the time this thing launches, to me, it has to exceed. It has to make a new high. And not only that, but how about when you have an app that goes big, right? So call it the next Steemit, call it the next, CryptoKitties. Once people realize, oh crap, look how big this app is. Where's it built? On EOS. That's just one. Then suddenly, there's over 1,000 apps waiting to be deployed on EOS.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And EOS is so scalable that I think, out of these 1,000, you're going to have a handful that are going to go big and mainstream. So as soon as people, that's another one. Everpedia.
Everpedia. Yeah. I was thinking of the stock market.
The stock one. Yeah. So I think this is going. We're building one as well called Trade Stuff. And it's built on
like
EOS.
a Wikipedia type thing? Or?
No, what it is it allows anybody to trade stuff without using money. So say you have an old pair of sunglasses, and you want to trade it for somebody else.
Like bartering?
It's barter,
Okay.
but the cool thing is that you and I can trade without wanting each other's. Like say I want your sunglasses, but you don't want my my computer bag.
Yeah.
So I'll send my computer bag that way, and I'll get something will happen.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. I know.
So it's indirect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll get your item without having to have something that you have.
Yeah. Are you aware of the token Wax?
Yeah, it's the is it the centralized
Worldwide Asset Exchange? It was
Okay.
created by like Opskins, who's like the biggest video game skin manufacturer.
Yeah, and then so it might have hit something like $20, went down, and then recently again hit 18 or something. And I think once it launches, another thing is that Bitcoin dictates a lot of the market. So when Bitcoin starts going crazy, everything eventually follows. Sometimes you might have.
Yeah, but that's changing, like from what people think at least.
Right,
Like it's balancing out.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. Sometimes you might have imbalances, but if you look at a long term, they kind of do this and they kind of follow.
Okay.
So you might have Bitcoin dropping and the altcoins going up, but if you look at a long enough trend, they kind of follow each other.